Senator Golden Campbell is online. We've had late apologies from MP Hilton and Senator Fraser Binns.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning, everyone. The first matter to be looked at is Section 156. There was a discussion in relation to hybrid meetings. Section 156.2 requires that meeting of creditors be convened at the Office of the Supervisor of Insolvency. The committee eventually agreed that there would be hybrid meetings, but we should have looked at the matter of quorum, because the Act provided that one person constituted a quorum, but for the hybrid meeting, it was determined that we should have at least more than one person for a quorum. It is agreed that for the quorum, there would be now 2 persons, including one creditor present and entitled to vote in alignment with Section 163(1) of the Act.
Can we read that differently? Quorum will be 2 people, one of whom
must be a creditor present and entitled to vote.
Present in person.
Present in person.
Thank you.
All right. Present in person and entitled to vote.
The quorum must be present in the office in person. I didn't get the question. You want to turn on your mic? Put you on the mic.
The person must be present in the chamber.
In the
office,
in the office
of the Supervisor of Insolvency, where the meetings of creditors, we're dealing with meeting of creditors. They are convened by the Supervisor of Insolvency.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, and in that office, the 2 members that will make the meeting quorate must be present in that office, one of whom must be a voting creditor. Is that very clear?
That is clear, Minister.
Okay, now there's a corollary to that, and a subsidiary to that, in that the subsequent meetings can also be hybrid, but that same quorum will apply.
So this applies to all meetings of creditors. First meetings and all other
subsequent meetings. Those are the rules. Next, was there a second item that we should consider?
No, Minister.
That's it. Senator Golden Campbell, do you have any comments or queries on what we just discussed?
No, Chairman. I am fine with it. I am pleased with the work that has been done. I'm quite satisfied with the draft report. I have nothing useful to add, and I congratulate your team at the ministry and the technical team. This really has been excellent work.
In fairness as well, I don't want to misquote anyone, but Senator Fraser Binns was also very complimentary on the work that the team has done from the ministry, from the Office of Supervisory. Please get me the right term, Ms. Fiola.
Office of the Supervisor of Insolvency.
From the Office of the Supervisor of Insolvency and the ministry team, the OPC, always here, guiding us, overlooking us through a side eye because she sits to my side.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Chair, you know, when I don't have anything to add, that it means the work is well and properly done.
This must be something else, because Senator Golden Campbell has nothing to add this morning. Before she changes her mind, MP Miller, do you have anything to add so I can get from under the gaze of Senator Golden Campbell?
I'd love to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I think this is great work. You know, for the most part, I was actually learning myself, you know, and reading through the material.
Yes.
You know, because it's something that I'm passionate about, and I was trying to educate myself, and I learned a lot in the process. And I want to congratulate Sir Chair and your team, the fabulous work that the ministry personnel has done, and I want mine to be recorded as well.
Right, so Mrs. Evans-Roberts, you have any last comment? And then I'm going to ask Janika from our office or colleague, any comments, because you've done a lot of work, so here's your chance to say something before we lock it down. Go ahead, Fiona.
Except to say thank you, Minister, and thank you to the members of the chamber as well, who were very accommodating. It was my first time here, and of course, the first time I was pretty nervous, but
You got quite
we eventually
comfortable,
got
yes.
through. Yes, thanks. And of course, the ministry team as well, that was very supportive during this.
Janika?
Good morning, everyone. I would also like to extend my thanks to the committee members and to Minister, as well as the technical team, the Legal Reform Department, the AG's chambers, the OPC, who always had good input, and through consultations, we all worked together, and we're just so happy to see that the fruit of our labor was not in vain. And we look forward to the rest of the process so that we can get this act enacted.
Thank you all for the work that you've done. Turn that off for me, please. Turn off your mic. I sat in the chair clearly from a place where I have done a lot of credit work in my life as a banker, but I sat here and learned quite a lot. I mean, I was very pleased for the way you handled the technical issues, the detail with which we went through. We all had to go through those clauses. I learned a lot in the process, and I'm better off for it. And I hope we have arrived here. We haven't had anybody quarreling or cussing in Parliament. We see that that's a privilege that we have had here in Jamaica, so we keep that. And of course, OPC, thank you so much for guiding us and helping us where there were technical and touchy matters. Really appreciate the work that you and the Office of the AGC have given for this. It's really a great pleasure to say thanks as well to the members of the Houses of Parliament, the Secretariat who make sure that we're here for meetings, and the members of the committee. Clearly they have other responsibilities, lots of other responsibilities, and for the most part they took time to come here or served online, and I appreciate the work that they've done. So to all who have contributed to this, thank you so much. And Mrs. Evans-Roberts, you're going to tell us what happens next. Or the oh, that's the clerk? All right. The report, of course, will be updated because of that last amendment we have, circulated again, and 50% of the members plus one, once they sign, then the report can be tabled and the legislative behavior starts at that stage. We'll again, of course, get guidance as we go along. But ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, thank you all so much for making this work as smoothly as it has. And we really hope that it will work to help the people that we work on behalf of. But please stay tuned, because nothing is ever complete. It can always be improved, and I'm sure there'll be a time again when we must improve it. But until then, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Chair.
I accept the motion from MP Miller to terminate the meeting, and I'm sure Senator Golden Campbell will second. Thank you. And the meeting is terminated. Thank you all so much.
Sir Chair, off the record, I'd like to wish the members in the chamber all the best for the festive season. Let me hope that you'll all get some good rest. And as I can see, Sir Chair, that majority of your team are younger than you are, which is always encouraging. And it shows that
That's really quite an assumption.
it shows that Jamaica is in the right hands. All the best for the festive season, guys.
Thank you all very much.
You have worked hard for your country, and we want you to have a little more peace of mind in retirement. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We know you want better roads in your towns and communities. That is why, through the Spark program, your government is allocating over $40 billion over 2 years to fix your community and rural roads. $20 billion will go towards fixing smaller roads in every area, with $150 million allocated per area. The remaining funds will be distributed based on road length and condition, ensuring areas with greater need receive more assistance. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I can. You can. We can. Let's all take the pledge to end gang violence now. Report what you know. Call 811-311-119 or visit the nearest police station.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Heart and Estate Trust now offers a $100,000 grant to heart-trained individuals running businesses for over a year. They'll also assist with business planning, marketing, skill enhancement, and other support. Your government is building a caring economy for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Young Jamaicans up to 35, your government will reserve up to 10% of NHT housing solutions over the next 5 years, just for you, with 100% financing up to 15 million Jamaican dollars. This is how we are empowering and breaking the cycle of poverty meaningfully. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Most Jamaicans will tell you corruption in politics is deep-rooted, and I just saw it said, and nothing can do about that. But actually, there is, and another 152 countries are doing it. It's called asset declaration, and it works best where citizens themselves understand it and help to ensure the law is enforced. Corruption happens when public officials abuse their power to benefit themselves, family, or associates. Jamaica's Integrity Commission Act was designed to prevent corruption, and here are 5 things you should know. 1. Under this law, every year MPs and senators must report what they earn, own, and owe, and if they don't, they'll be sanctioned. 2. Their report must include the same kind of information for their wife or husband and children. 3. If they get a gift worth more than $100,000 from anyone who's not family, they must declare it. 4. A summary of the declarations of our Prime Minister and opposition leader must be published where the public can read it. 5. Parliamentarians can now be prosecuted by the Integrity Commission. They can be fined up to $2 million or serve up to 2 years in prison if they don't file their declaration or if they give false information, and $500,000 for not filing on time or ignoring requests for information. Unfortunately, our parliamentarians made changes that prevent the public from knowing when they've broken the law or when they're being investigated. We really need to change that. Visit jampja.org to find out more about the Act and to track if your MP is obeying this law. If they're not, JAMP's MP Tracker will help you write, tweet, or call your MP. Ask them, you submit your declaration yet? The Integrity Commission clear you? Let's help the Parliament stay honest.
A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
No more guarantors for student loan. Your government cares about your education, and we don't want you to ever have to worry about going to university. The Students' Loan Bureau has a loan for you so you can focus on your future. Your safety and security continue to be our priority. We are seeing a downward trend in major crimes, and we are investing $650 million in technology improvement for our police force to provide greater coverage across Jamaica by 2028.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I saw you want to live. I walk and look over your shoulder. No sleep at night. I wonder if your family safe, your mother, your brother, your sister, your youth them. And when you get catch, are you alone? But not there to help you. You have to talk for yourself a court. And then when you're gone behind the bars, them see you on their road. I live them life and I enjoy life. Gang violence don't make no sense. Leave gang violence alone. Let's work together and make Jamaica a safer and peaceful country. Let's all live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
We often hear about mangroves and seagrass being a natural buffer against storms and floods. We are told they filter contaminants, remove carbon dioxide, and add value to the local ecology and economy. But what exactly are mangroves?
Well, mangroves are what I would call semi-aquatic plants that are mostly found in coastal areas. They normally grow in what we call brackish saltwater. You have the red and the black mangrove. When you go up on the coast, everybody see it. So that's what mangroves are. From the Christmas Columbus days or before, when you come here, there was a lot of mangrove more on their coast or along our river in the lowland areas. And you know, in Jamaica, tourism is a big thing. People want to see white sand beach. So most of our hotels are on the beach. So some of the mangroves are lost there. Then we have communities building in there. And what we have to do, we have to cut down some of the mangroves to put the communities. So we have been losing a lot of mangroves to development. And sometimes we lose some of them to hurricanes too. So put all of that together, we're losing our mangrove at a rapid rate. And they play a very important role, as I said, in protecting our coast. So when a hurricane comes, it's like a barrier.
Mangrove roots are important habitats for a wide variety of fish.
A lot of the fish that we eat, if they breed outside in the, as I would say, in the big sea or open water, they become easy food for other fish. So a number of the fish come into the mangrove, lay their eggs, and it's a nursery. So imagine what happens is if you're not getting a replenish of your fish population. After a while, you have no more. So the mangroves are important fish sanctuary. And for the people who love them big mangrove snapper and all of that, if we lose our mangrove, it will impact the fishing.
The sustainability of Jamaica's fishery is directly dependent on the health of mangroves. So too, the well-being of a number of other species. Jamaica's mangroves are teeming with 18 mammals and over 250 species of fish, including parrot, runt, and snapper. It's also home to approximately 200 species of birds.
It is a home for several birds, wetland birds, the big egret, them ducks, you name it. Some of them fly as far as North America and come over here to stay, and they are in our mangrove. Some of the mammals that we find in our mangroves, we find are bats. We have 21 species of bats. 5 of them are found nowhere else in the world, and they feed and forage in our mangroves. So it's a home, and we also have a fish-eating bat that in that wetland, some of these open areas, go and catch some of the smaller fish. And you can find, so those are the mammals that we typically find in the mangroves.
The whispers of the mangrove drown out the stealth of another inhabitant, some call the king of the mangroves.
Basking at the top of the ecological food chain is the Jamaican crocodile, or the king of the mangroves. The crocodile is of economic and ecological importance, symbolic even, as this reptile is found on the island's coat of arms.
Well, if you think about it, from the early part, you heard about the taínos, and that the taínos had interaction with the crocodiles. And there are stuff in the literature that in the earlier time, there might have been some hunting of the crocodiles. And if you look at Jamaica, the money, and look at our coat of arms, the American crocodile, which I strongly tell everybody to call it the Jamaica crocodile, which is a common name, and people feel more to the crocodile. It's there. So it's part of us. It is our largest native animal. Native means naturally found. It's not endemic, it is found in other countries, but it's our largest. So it's a top predator. So it was here before humans were.
What are the roles of crocodiles in the ecosystem?
Okay, so the Jamaica crocodile, as we see right here, is the top predator. And the job of the top predator is to keep things in check. And when you say that, you have to think of it, how does that fit in? So a lot of people, if you think about a river in a wetland, you have the crocodile, you have several fish. You have the predator fish, and you have something else that eat that predator fish and all of that. Now the crocodiles keep that in check. So suppose you remove like the tarpon, you move that fish out, one of the predators. So you get rid of the crocodile. Then one of those predator number will grow, and it will eat off another fish, which go down the chain, and it would have deleterious effect on our ecosystem. Some of the services we not even know right now what is it that they do. So you have the top predator, keep things in check. And another way you need to look at it, if you think of about somebody being sick in a room, one person being sick, come in a room, it infects everybody. The crocodile in a way would control that sick fish, that sick animal, and others won't get sick. So they play a balanced role in our ecosystem.
The presence of crocodiles in the mangroves during the periods of drought scares away land animals who otherwise would drink the limited water supplies needed for aquatic life and systems. All across Jamaica, mangroves are being lost, due in part to direct and indirect pollution, including agrochemicals and a flood of plastic waste. Garbage impedes the growth of mangroves. In some cases, it kills them. The loss of mangroves has led to Jamaica's coastline being exposed to storms that are increasingly more frequent and intense. The possible impact on Jamaica's food security is sobering due to the negative long-term effects on Jamaica's fish stock. A 2019 World Bank study titled Forces of Nature notes that more than 770 hectares of mangroves have been lost in Jamaica over the past 2 decades. Laws have been put in place to try and stem the tide of mangrove destruction in Jamaica.
There's the Forestry Act, which governs places like if you have a sanctuary or if you have a protected area, a forest reserve. You can't go in a forest reserve and cut a tree. You can't have like a charcoal stream less than 1 kilometer, within 1 kilometer of the sanctuary. So there's laws in terms from the forestry part, and then you have NEPA part now. I'm not too sure which one of the planning act, but you can't just go in and do a wide-scale cutting of mangroves. When people are now doing development, they have to do what we call an environmental impact assessment, which is if they are planning to clear an area, they have to work out, make sure that the development don't destroy all the mangrove. If they're going to do it, are they going to replant an area, or if they're going to put some of the money, the damage that they do, they calculate how much money the damage costs. And another area where they're doing a project, if we look at Palisados, where they're planting a mangrove there, now somebody would invest that money in there to make sure that we have more mangroves along the Palisados. So there are laws there to protect the mangrove. Well, I have a colleague, which is Dr. Camilla Trench. He has done a number of mangrove restoration projects. And one of the things that he always tells me, that initially in the past, people just think that restoring a mangrove is just planting mangrove plants. But that's not how it works. You have to find out what is the reason why the mangrove not growing in the area for doing restoration. So it could be a simple part. Every mangrove needs water. The water is like the blood in our body. So it needs water to survive. So if you plant it in an area that is flooded all the time, the mangroves won't grow. If you plant it where there's little water, it will affect it. So first you have to go in that area, you have to find out to solve the hydrological issues, and then you can plant, you can go and plant seeds. And sometimes there are trees there already that are producing the seeds. And if you just fix some of the physical issues that I mentioned a while ago, like channeling the water and all of that, the mangrove will naturally return. So there are different ways. However, to do all of this work takes money. And meantime, if you're trying to like grade back, grade down a property so the water can come back in, you have to get a grader, you have to get workmen, and all of that comes at a cost. And I always tell people, environment to care, to make a change, to restore, needs money and it needs personnel.
The restoration of mangroves is attributed in part to animals and birds.
If we go back into a healthy ecosystem, every animal play a role. So you remember I mentioned about bats in the mangrove. So what some of these bats will do, when they feed on a fruit, they spread the seeds. And you have other birds there, like the herons and that, they sleep on top. They provide nutrients, their droppings provide nutrients for the trees to grow.
Crocodiles are also a major player in the preservation and restoration of mangroves.
How do crocodiles help to restore the mangroves?
A very good question. So when you go into a healthy mangrove wetland, you go in there, you see crocodiles, you see birds, you see fish, and all that. You have a healthy ecosystem going on. And if you look at that principle, then you look at how we restore it. Now, crocodiles, as our friend writes here, as you can see now, they live in these ponds and they dig under, create burrows and stuff like that. And if you think during the dry season, you have water being restored. And now going back into the wetland, you have waterways like that. And the waterways is the heart of a wetland. So by they creating burrows, areas where, you know, crabs can go and you have water going under, this also provides a perfect area for mangroves to grow. And people like, what crocodile does that? Yes, part of its job, as you can see, it digs, it burrows under, water is stored there, and mangrove need water. So by doing that alone, that activity encourages mangroves in the area. So I'm not going to say the crocodile plants it, but it creates the area for the seeds to grow.
Laws are in place to protect the king of the mangrove.
Jamaican crocodiles are protected by law under the Wildlife Protection Act. That means they should not be hunted, captured, or killed.
Persons found guilty of this offense are liable to a fine of up to $100,000 or 12 months in prison.
Unfortunately, what has happened over the last 15 years or so is the animal has a value now in the illegal meat trade. So what is happening is people are going out into the wild and are poaching the reptile and selling the meat illegally. Unfortunately, the laws are there in Jamaica to protect not only the crocodile, which is a protected species or endangered species internationally as well as locally, but the laws are not being enforced. The resources are just not there to police the areas or monitor, or even if you catch people, they doing poaching, whether it be sea turtles, crocodiles. What is happening is the system takes forever, and a lot of the time the convictions, if they do get any convictions, are paltry. It's almost ridiculous now. So what this sanctuary is doing, it's working like an insurance policy. It holds stock animals for breeding purposes, for what we call a Head Start program, which can be adjusted year by year depending on how we breed. And we can inoculate the wild habitat with young crocodiles, a few at a time, to help ensure that the species is not completely eradicated from certain areas.
The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, mounted a Crocwise educational outreach program